Yo, yo, yo. Gonna get started here in just a second. And welcome, welcome, welcome. It's such a great night to do some coding here. Yeah, we're gonna be building an app tonight. I felt like building an app. I think it's fun. It's fun to build an app. So we're gonna be doing that tonight. Let me kill the music here for a second. I hope that that didn't have any copyright, because, oh well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How we doing tonight? Let's load up here some coding stuff. Basically my plan for the night. Plan for tonight. Tonight is what? 6/19. Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth if you celebrate that. Happy Juneteenth if you celebrate that. Alright, so I think I got a plan for the night. For tonight, I want to create an app. So I've been doing a lot of live streaming lately, and I feel like I cover a lot of great things here that I want to make sure that I can also share to other people that maybe can't attend the stream, or simply, you know, might get lost or might only join for a couple of minutes or hours. So what I want to do is I want to build something that helps me with editing my streams and turning them into like YouTube videos or Instagram videos that I can use as well. So what I was thinking to do is, since I record all of my streams and I upload them to YouTube, what I was thinking to do was to grab that, get the transcript from that, use some sort of LLM, either OpenAI's or Google, and then feed it the transcript, have it identify what parts might be noteworthy, so what parts of the stream I should be including as videos, and not only identify what parts, but actually give me kind of like the timestamps as to where specifically in this process, like what part specifically of the video I should actually include. So yeah, YouTube API to get the transcript. We're gonna feed that transcript into ChatGPT. We're gonna have ChatGPT come up with the best parts of the video that I can include, give me that, and then depending on how far we get tonight, we might even be able to write some sort of like Python code that downloads the video and then uses the timestamps that we identified before to crop the video automatically. Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm thinking too far ahead, and maybe we don't get to that, but let's see where we get. For now, so what's my plan? My plan is to build some sort of automation, to build an automation to grab or get the best parts from my live stream. So we want to go ahead and get the best parts from the live stream video. So how are we gonna do this? Well, we first need to fetch information from the YouTube API. So fetch transcript from YouTube API. Then I'm going to feed the transcript or pass the transcript to ChatGPT to have it actually generate some of the, or identify. I don't need it to generate anything. I just need it to let me know, like, hey, this part, you covered this topic. It goes from this timestamp to this timestamp. You go ahead and do whatever that you want with it. So we're going to leverage an LLM to determine key points or key parts in the live stream. Right, so we're gonna have it generate that for us. And then lastly, we're gonna have to, we need to have some sort of way to view this, right? So like view the selected parts. And what I'm gonna ask here is to return the timestamps and reason why. Like, I want to understand. Of course, the LLM can lie to me. Like, I mean, lie to me if you want to, but at least give me something as to why you chose this specific parts. So I want to make sure that I can have that here. And then view the selected parts along with the description, along with reasoning. So I want to make sure that I can read that, get the information that it gave me with the timestamps, and then read the information somehow. And then if we get to it, so we're gonna go ahead and have here optional. I'm going to download that video. So optional here, we're going to download the video, have it be trimmed automatically. Right, so my goal is to, if we get to it, also once we identify the parts that I want to, since I'm gonna have the timestamps and I know specifically from where to where I can, the part that I'm gonna use is, I can use some sort of package to download the video and then have it trimmed automatically based on the different parts. So if we have, like, for example, a 1 hour video, so if we have a 60-minute video, and then our LLM tells us that a good part is between, 3 minutes, 45 seconds, and, 10 minutes and 23 seconds, then we're just gonna use that to trim my 60-minute video, and then just get those six and a half minutes or whatever this is. And yeah, I think that sounds like a cool approach. Let's see here. 1 second. What do you guys think? I don't know, I just thought this would be cool. It uses LLMs, so we can connect to an LLM. I'll probably build this. I think the easiest way to build it, I could build it with something like JavaScript, or specifically Next.js. I could build a backend there in Next.js, and then have that be my, kind of like the front and everything. But I think I'm gonna go with Python at this point. I'm gonna go ahead and set that as, like some sort of APIs that I can hit, because my goal is to be able to, like, have an API, I give it a URL, and then it does everything that it needs to do for me. So maybe in here we want to start maybe by creating the API. So creating the API to actually do this. And I'm gonna have to break this down into even more, like, specific pieces, because this is already, like, too broad. So I want to make sure that I can break it up into smaller workable pieces that makes sense. So we're gonna be doing that in just a second. Let's go ahead and get some people here. How are you guys doing this lovely Juneteenth night? Having a good time? Ready to learn some coding? I hope that you guys learn from today. I mean, I'm trying to... I cover LeetCode problems. I try to cover concepts. I try to, like, cover some data structures and algorithms. And I'm also going to be building apps live so that you guys can see, and also you can build it with me as well if you want to. So I hope that you do learn a lot today with this approach. So, and if at any point we get bored, we can just go and solve some more LeetCode problems. Solving more LeetCode problems is never bad, right? Right. Yes, YouTube or Twitch. Just posting some stuff here real quick before we get started. Ready to learn? What's up, friend? Welcome. We got friend in the house. Yeah, let's go ahead and... Let me grab some water real quick here. I think this is empty. Give me just 1 second. KK, have you worked with Python before, friend? I've never really done any Python. think I like Python, man. Connecting the front end to the back end is something I haven't learned yet. Yes. There are many ways to do this. I like to have typically an architecture where my front end is completely decoupled. Oh, I have like the radiator here and I just burned my leg. I try to have an architecture where my front end is completely decoupled from my back end. So basically my front end is just like buttons and input text or whatever, and then what those do is that when you click a button, the button doesn't know what the heck is happening. The button just knows like, okay, I was pressed, I'm gonna publish an event, and then whoever is listening to that event takes care of doing whatever they need to do. So basically, yeah, my front end just kind of raises events, and then my back end or whoever is listening to those events and then processes whatever they want to do. And I think that today we might not get to the front end though, because for now I'm just going to be building the back end and we're going to interact through Postman. I think interacting through Postman at this time, it's probably the best that I can do. But yeah, we're going to be interacting through Postman. And then maybe, again, if we get to it, then I'll do some sort of, what is it called? Front end. Also, if you guys want to, you can check some of the apps. I'll probably include this into the creator magic. So I created this app a while back that transformed YouTube videos into written content and insightful analysis. So basically with this we can feed a specific YouTube URL, and then it'll transform it into a blog post or a tutorial guide or a steps list. Like, for example, if you want to know if this is a video that you're interested in, you can get a summary from it, and then that way you don't commit to 45 minutes of watching a video that you don't know. Or maybe you just want to get a list of steps from a YouTube video, like, you know, they're covering some tutorial or something, you can probably use this as well. So my thought is that eventually I'll probably just add that as part of this, just so that I can have that as an example. But yeah, if we look over here at the dashboard of things that I've done before, like for example here, I was trying to do it with a couple, but in this case, like how to build and design something with Instagram. So this was the video, and I just feed it to my app over here, and in this case I wanted to get a steps list so that it gives me like a step-by-step list of the different things that I need to do. And yeah, this has helped me a lot to try and understand, like if I want to get written content from something, I use this. And I also built a sentiment analysis tool. So basically this, you give it a YouTube URL as well, and then it gives you a sentiment analysis based on the comments of the video. So it tells you more or less if it's like mostly positive or mostly negative, and it gives you like analysis on, you know, viewers are mixed, they're, you know, skeptical of this and that. But yeah, I think I'll probably just end up adding it to this as another feature. But for now, we're just gonna build it locally and try to run it on my computer, and then we'll interact with it through Postman. I think that sounds like a good night. We'll do it through Postman here. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. So what do I want to do? Well, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create a project to work on this. So let's do that. So I'm going to just navigate to a place that I know I'm good at. Okay, so here. And what do I want to call this? Well, I'm going to call this Easy Stream. So I'm just going to make a folder here, and I'm going to call it Easy Stream. And now let me just navigate to Easy Stream. Okay, now that we have our project here, I'm going to start it on Visual Studio Code. That's my favorite code editor all the way. Although I was looking into, there's this new IDE or code editor that's called Cursor that I've seen a lot of people use now. Apparently it's like forked from the Visual Studio features. So it's like the same as Visual Studio, but they have like some stuff on top of it. And apparently the AI that it brings is like super good. I downloaded it. I didn't get into it. It looks the same as like if we see here, I have it right here. It looks the same as Visual Studio Code. Because I mean, it's pretty much the same. I never really configured it. I don't know. I feel Visual Studio already has all of my plugins, all of my extensions, all of the things that I really don't want to set up somewhere else. So I think I'm just going to use this instead. All right. So first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to create a main.py. So this is where everything is going to happen for us. Main.py. And I'm also going to, in here, let's see, let's view the terminal. And in here, I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to do git init. I'm going to have a repository for this, just so that I can keep track of my changes. Always, 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 if you can, have a repository for your things. Just so that, one, if you make a mistake, you don't have to rely on Command-Z or Control-Z to undo a bunch of changes and pray to God that your changes are still there. You can manage all of the changes through Git. So have a Git repository and commit often as you can commit. It doesn't matter if you have 200 commits. Why? Because if you do make a mistake, then you know exactly where the mistake is at any point, and then you can just roll back that commit if you want to. But always try to have a commit here. And I'm also going to create just a git ignore, just so that we can add some stuff in there. For now, we're going to just do the first commit here. So git commit m initial commit. And there we go. Okay, cool. So now what am I going to do? Every time I work with a Python project, I try to create a virtual environment so that I don't have so that my packages locally don't interfere with the packages of the project, and that way I know that the project will work running on any other machine. So I typically start a virtual environment for this, and the way that we do this is with just doing Python m virtual environment, and then we name it virtual environment. You'll see that a new folder appear here, and basically this is the virtual environment where all of my packages and everything is going to be stored in. And what I'm going to do is that in my VMV and my git ignore, I'm going to put my VMB so that we're not committing that, right? So we're just keeping this right here. And then I'm going to start this. And I think I can just start this by doing source bven activate. Boom. Now in here in Python, I'm going to select this right here, VMB bin Python, so that it has all of the stuff that I need as well. And I think we're ready to get started. I'm already working on my virtual environment. I have my virtual environment stuff. Okay, cool. Now I'm just, as I said, let's gonna commit often as we can. So what I want to do first, so git add all, git commit, adding virtual environment. Okay, so let's go ahead and break this down. Let's plan this, right? Like, what do we need to do? And we had a bit of a plan here, but let's go ahead and try to create like stories per se, so that we know like what we're playing and what we have done and what we have left to do. So first thing that I want to do is then create an API, right? Like I have to have a way to actually reach this. So we're going to create a Flask API app. So we're going to create a Flask API app, and as a user, I want to be able to reach the API endpoint and get a success response. So just to begin with, we're going to create a Flask API app, and we're just setting kind of like the story of what I want to do, and I want to be able to reach that endpoint. And for the time being, we're just going to return a success response regardless of what they do, because we're not implementing the functionality yet, right? Then once I have my Flask app, I want to be able to pass in the YouTube URL. So pass in the YouTube URL as the body. So I want to pass in as the body of the request, we're going to have a post request. Yeah, between a post and a get, I think I want to use a post better than a get, because that's just going to be it's just a bit more secure in terms of like me passing in the values that I need to pass and whatnot. So I think I'm gonna go with post request. So I'm gonna pass the YouTube URL as the post request. Then so here as a user, I want to be able to pass the URL of the video in the body of the request. Right? So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Then once we pass the URL, I want to fetch the transcript, right? So fetch the transcript from the URL. So and how about we return it? Like I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna fetch it and then I'm gonna return it for now. So as a user, I want to be able to get the transcript from a YouTube video given a URL. So I'm gonna make the same request, but we're gonna be improving on this, right? So in the first case, we're just returning a success response with nothing. Then after that, I'm allowing them to pass in stuff in the body of the request. And then lastly, I'm gonna go ahead and return the transcript from that YouTube URL. So if we're able to fetch it properly, then I'm gonna go ahead and do that. One thing that confuses me is if you make an app, should you do the back end first before the front end? Depends on how your app is, because I'm web dev, you make the HTML first, right? Not necessarily. So it really depends on like how your app works. If you have just plain HTML, you might be able to get away with it. Why? Because you can always do mocks, so you can fake the data, right? So let's say if you have an HTML app, right? And I'm gonna try and do that like down here. So let's say I have an HTML app and I have a button, and what I want to do is every time I press the button, I'm gonna go ahead and write a record to my database, right? So what I would do is like, button.onClick, and this is just pseudocode, so don't pretend this is HTML, but whatever, assuming that on my onClick, if I don't have my backend built beforehand, what I can try and do is agree, if I have like other people working with me on the backend, I can agree on a couple of things. I can agree on the route. So you're typically gonna be calling something like, you're gonna be making a post request to something like, HTTPS, your domain.com that, save in database. Right, so you're gonna be making at some point this call in your data from your front end to your backend. And assuming that you don't have the backend built first, then you can still do this, but you're probably gonna have to like mock this, or for the time put like a dummy URL, and then you manage it yourself. So let's say that this is the URL that you're gonna hit, and the response that the URL gives you. And again, you have to agree with your backend engineers, or if you're building everything yourself, then you have to agree yourself on like what the contract is going to be. So let's say that we have here a response, and we assume that the response is going to return some, let me put here some code. So we assume that the response is going to return some JSON that's going to be like, let's say here, it's gonna give you some sort of value, like the ID of the item that you just saved. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. So let's say that this is the response that you're gonna get. You can still do this. Like let's say that we have this, and then in my front end, I would make a call to a dummy URL, and then I would expect this response. So I can like mimic all of that. and that way I know that I make a call to this, and if everything works, it replies with this. So I can code around it, right? Like I know if I need to display the ID later on, I can just do like, you know, call endpoint, call dummy endpoint, and then return, you know, a code with an ID, a random ID. And once I receive that random ID, then I can just display it or whatever. So as long as I can agree on one, what do I need to send you to the backend to do whatever you need to do? And two, what are you going to reply to me with? Then I don't need to have the backend built because I already know what I need to send you and what you're going to give me back. How that happens, I don't care. Like me as a front end, I don't care how you come up with this ID. I don't care, you know, what you do with it. I just care that you return it to me in this format because this is what I'm expecting. And then that's it. I use that to do my work. So you don't have to build one or the other. You just have to agree on the contracts of that, you know, of the communication. I hope that made sense. So yeah, that's if you're doing like front end before the back end. But if you are doing back end before the front end, then it's even simpler. Like you just build the back end decides what is it that it's sending to the front end, and then once you have the back end built, then the front end can do stuff that it needs to. So yeah, and in a lot of cases you are gonna have to build one or the other. Like you can't build everything at once. At least in this case, I'm gonna start with the back end, and then if we get to it, I'll build a front end for it. Okay, cool. So yeah, do this. Then once we fetch our transcript and we're returning it, now we're gonna want to go ahead and feed that to the LLM, to ChatGPT or something like that, and have it give us the specific timestamps for parts that are interesting. So use LLM to get what do I call this? To get time sections that will be relevant for other videos. So in here we're gonna do multiple things. So as a user, I want to get the timestamps and a summary of sections that will be relevant for YouTube videos. And yeah, I want to get the timestamps, and I also want to get a summary of each of the sections. And this is going to be returned in JSON. I want to make sure that I can return the thing in JSON so that I can work with it later on. And I think this is it for now. Let's get started, and then we can start and revisit this if we need to. But yeah, for now, let's go ahead and just create a Flask API app, and we want to expose an endpoint, some sort of endpoint that gives me a success response. So let's go ahead and work on this one first. So here, this is our first goal here. Okay, cool. So what are the first things that I need to do then? So I need to create a Flask app. So the first thing that I'm going to do is just create my requirements.txt. This is where I specify all of the packages that I need to use or that I will be using in my Python app. So through here, I'm going to specify that. Okay. So what do I need to do? Well, Flask. For now, I just need to do Flask because this is the only package that I need so far. And well, we're gonna be adding more packages later on. And okay, now that we have Flask, how do I actually create this? Or how do I actually install the package? Well, I just do pip install r requirements.txt. and this just installs all of the packages that I have there. And it does tell me that pip is outdated, so let's go ahead and update pip here. Okay, cool. So now we should have Flask, and if I change tabs or I save, okay, the squiggly line goes away because now it's recognizing it as part of my flow. Okay, so here I'm gonna cheat a little bit because I'm gonna use GitHub Copilot to write the code for me. Always work smart, not hard. So how can I get GitHub Copilot to work for me? So I'm gonna go ahead and do this right here. Create a Flask endpoint that returns a success response. The route should be, what did I call this project? Easy Stream. So how about we call it for now Easy Stream 2. Okay, and as you see, I'm gonna let Copilot write this code for me. So first thing that I do here, it's already importing Flask. Great. It's creating the Flask app. It's creating the route Easy Stream, and then it's returning success. And if main whatever, and there you go. It already wrote the code for me. So let's see what it wrote. Let's see what it wrote. Make sure that this makes sense. So we're importing Flask. Then we're creating the Flask app here. Then we're specifying a route Easy Stream. And then here we are just returning success for now. So now that we have this, we should be able to go. So how about we run this here, python.main.py. And it says that it started it on port 5000. And I think we should be good to go. So let's go ahead and test that. Let's see if we're done with step 1. Your session of this thing has been, can I just sign in again? I saw all this security is just like, and verify I'm a human, and it just asks me to click on a button. How does clicking on a button verify that I'm a human? Just kidding, just kidding. I know how it works, but it's just silly to know that that's the case. Okay, so let me just close all the tabs. Yeah, first close all the tabs. And I'm gonna create a new folder here, a new collection, just to keep it. I'm gonna call this Easy Stream. And in here, I'm gonna create a request. So can I just do a new request? This is going to be a post. And we'll deal with this in a second. I'm gonna name this. Can I name it? No. So where are we? So we're here. This is where we need to call, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and paste this right here, and I'm gonna save it in Easy Stream. The request name is gonna be Easy Stream. We just have one request. I don't know. We can think of something better later on, but for now, I'm gonna keep this like this. Okay, cool. So given this, I should be able to just make that call. And we see that I get a 404. Okay, good. This is good. This is good. We are working. It is working because it reached the endpoint, so it found something. It's just that we're not hitting the right route, right? Like we need to call here Easy Stream. And then this should be good. Now it's telling me that the method is not allowed. Why is it telling me that the method is not allowed? Let's see here, post is stream. It's telling me that this is not. So let's go ahead and tell Copilot here that this request should only allow post. So let's see what it did. Okay, methods post. So now it's telling me there that it should allow post. And then let me call that again. Boom, there we go. You see how easy that was? Of course, I recommend that you guys learn this before trying to use Copilot, because Copilot will write a ton of crap that you don't even know if it's right. And if you don't know how things work, it's going to be very, very hard to know, you know, if what it wrote actually makes sense. But there we go. So what was our first point? Our first point was as a user, I want to be able to reach an API endpoint and get a success response. So are we doing that? Yeah, so I hit this route and I get a success response. We see that the status code is 200, and right now we're just printing success because we want to be silly here, but that's it. Okay, cool. So I got step 1 done. Let's change this to a little check mark here. Okay. Now what? Let's go to the next one. Let's put that as a call out. Call out, and this one is going to be our target. Okay, so now we want to make sure that we can pass in the YouTube URL as the body of this. So as a user, I want to be able to pass in the YouTube URL. So we don't have any restrictions so far. We just know that we need to pass in the YouTube URL. So how do I do that? Well, in the body over here, I'm going to put that this is going to be raw and it's going to be JSON. And the way that I'm going to pass it is I'm going to pass here URL. And then here is going to be some YouTube URL. So this is what I'm going to be passing. And for me to actually access it in here, there's a couple of things that I can do, like accessing the request and accessing the data that comes in. So let's go ahead and tell Copilot here to get the body of the request and print the URL that we passed in the URL field of the JSON. See if it understands this. Boom, let's accept this. So what are we doing here? We're just modifying what we originally had, and now what we're doing is that we're getting the request that's coming in, and we're getting the JSON, and then from there we're printing the URL, or we're getting the URL that they passed in, and then we print that URL. So let me save that, and let me clear the console, and now I should be able to make a request. I'm still going to get a success value back, but now if I see the console here, I'm printing the URL as some YouTube URL. So now I'm passing a URL. And we see here, okay, we are good. And I could focus on happy path only for the time being. Like I could legit just focus on the happy path, or I could add some validations here. So let's go ahead and do some validations here. So if there's no data, then we're gonna print here that the URL is required. So data is required, and then here if we don't have a URL, then the URL is required. Right, so what this is doing is that it's guarding me. So for example, now if I don't pass in anything, you'll see that now I get well, this is interesting. Unsupported media type. Oh, okay, because I need to pass in here my media type. So application content type is what it's called. Content type. And then here the content type is going to be application JSON. That's fine. There you go. Boom. So running into issues here. So bad request because it failed to. It was expecting to have something here. So let's see what's going on here. So we added this right here, and we're getting the request. And what happens here? Sentence MIME type. If the MIME type does not indicate JSON, then fails on lace and Jordan score, return the value, return value, raisins 405. Okay, so it was raising that. Okay, I think that should be good. So if, for example, I pass this right here, you see it says that the data is required because I'm passing something like that empty, and if I pass empty, it still like blows up. So that's okay with me. And if I passing anything other, so if I pass like, for example, model, I don't know, whatever, Now it's complaining because it's telling me that, hey, your URL is needed. And if I do pass a URL value, then it says success. So okay, good. Good, we're handling some stuff over here, which is good. Okay, I think, does that cover our second point? Passing the YouTube URL as the body, and as a user I want to be able to pass a URL in the video. Yeah, so I'm passing in a URL. Okay, cool. We have that second one done. Let's go to the third one. This is where stuff gets a bit more complicated, because now we're actually doing, like, we need to actually get the URL. Okay, so now that we're here, let's go ahead and I'm gonna kill my app for a second, and let's commit this. So git add. Let me just make sure that I have the changes, you know, what changes I have. So this is why I like Git, and if you guys don't work with Git or haven't worked with Git before, you should. Why? Because it shows you like literally what you changed since the last time. So I know here I don't need to use that JSON stuff there. But basically you can see here, so this is also a mistake. I don't want to have a double thing. This is a mistake. I don't want to have a double thing there. And this is a mistake as well. I don't know what happened there. I had like triple of everything. But yeah. So here I can see the changes. Okay, I changed that, and then for the requirements, the txt, I created the whole thing and I added Flask. Okay, so git add and git commit. Let's commit this over here, and we're gonna say that we have an endpoint and can pass the URL. Cool. So now that we have an endpoint and can pass the URL, we can move on to the next step. And the next step is to fetch the transcript from the URL. So as a user, I want to be able to get the transcript from a YouTube video, giving a URL. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look here. So luckily, there's a package that we can use, and it's this one right here. It's called YouTube Transcript API, literally. It's already built for us. So I call that a win. Now we can just repurpose and use this right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this, and let's see how we, okay, so we install it by just calling YouTube Transcript API, and we have to get the transcript based on a video ID. Okay, so we need to get the transcript based on the video ID. Can I get the transcript based on a URL? Like, can you do the whole like video, like get the video ID for me? Because I really don't want to do that. Okay, well, we'll do one step at a time. So we'll see. First thing that I need to do here is let's install this package. So same that we did with Flask. I'm gonna add it here, and then I'm gonna run pip install our requirements so that it downloads that. Okay, cool. So for this, I'm gonna be a bit more object-oriented to some extent. I'm gonna be object-oriented because I want to have like objects that I can mock if I need to. So in this case, let's go ahead. I'm gonna just create like a source file, and in here I'm going to have a YouTube transcript service.py. So this is gonna be a class that's gonna like handle all of the getting the transcript. So that way I can group everything into one thing, and I can split it out if I need to later, or I can replace it for another package or something like that. But this just makes my code a bit easier to manage. So what am I gonna do here? So I want to declare a class that will take in a URL, and then it'll give me the transcript back. So create a class that will have a method to take in the URL from a YouTube video and return the transcript of the video. Okay, cool. So can we do class YouTube transcript service, and I'm not gonna pass the URL as part of the constructor. I'm instead gonna pass it as part of here. Okay, cool. Now let's go ahead and import YouTube transcript API, and let's just take a look at the code and what they say that how to use it. So okay, so from this we get this. Okay, cool. So what we need to do is get this. So from YouTube transcript API module, I'm assuming we're getting the YouTube transcript API class. And now here, this might work at some points. Like getting the video ID might work at some points, but I don't think that all of the URLs for YouTube are the same. So I probably need to do something a bit smarter here. Why? Because like, let me give you an example. So let me go to YouTube. So YouTube URL types. Actually, there you go. So I found someone who already did that. So look at the YouTube URLs. Some of them do have like v equals whatever. So that is the value. But I'm not sure if all of them v equals to the ID is the right thing. So you see how you can have so many different like URLs? And I want to make sure that I can handle all of them. Yeah, I want to make sure that I can handle all of them. So we're probably going to use something like a fancy way here to get the video URL. And let me see if the package already doesn't have some. Our software engineer. I am a software engineer, my users. Currently a P3 senior software engineer at this company, UKG. So let me see if this package allows me to get the video ID. So URL, no. Get video ID from URL. So from YouTube URL Python. Let's see if someone already has like a package or something that I can use. I guess, yeah, from PyTube. So I guess I can use PyTube. I think I can use PyTube, so that way instead of me doing this crap, let's for now we're just gonna return like, you know, a transcript here, and let's install PyTube. So because apparently I can use that to do what I need to do. What language do I code? Multiple. I've been doing a lot of Java lately, JavaScript. Right now I'm building an API with Python. I don't know, any language that gets the job done. I don't have a specific one. Like, I use a lot of like Dart with Flutter. I do, maybe if you're interested in game development, I advise you learn OpenGL, or if you already learned. Yeah, you know that I typically don't do a lot of games, although I should. I found them very, very interesting. I actually created one a couple years ago, put it on the App Store and everything, but I built it, what did I build it with? I think I built it with Unity. I built it with Unity and yeah, with Unity because Unity uses C#. So I'm already familiar with C#, so I use that. But yeah, I built some stuff with that. What is Android based? OpenGL or like I'm not sure. Is OpenGL just Android based? Okay, so let's go ahead and install this here. Pip install our requirements. Yeah, C# are integrated with OpenGL. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So let's see what is OpenGL. I don't know. I've probably heard of it, but I haven't really like worked with it. So Let me buff this up here. What is OpenGL? NVIDIA has created a special tool for GeForce GPUs to accelerate Windows Remote to GeForce. Okay, so OpenGL is a cross-language, cross-platform application programming interface. So it's an API for rendering 2D and 3D vector graphics. The API is typically used to interact with graphics processing units to achieve accelerated. Okay, so do you use it as like, I see that they have an SDK and so on. Like I have an OpenGL SDK, but I'm not sure like you use it. Is this like a package that you use for your games? Or let's see, high performance standard OpenGL. The Vulkan website has a new look. Okay. Nothing fun there. So here you'll find some stuff. Let's go ahead and take a look at the GitHub repo. I don't know what that is. I don't know. We'll have to actually take a look at this. So why read the chapters? Okay, the content have to. OpenGL is free, always free for anyone. Aha, but give me some examples. Like what do I do with this? Okay, so here's someone use OpenGL rendering to render some stuff. Okay, so it just renders graphics in like an easier way. I'm assuming it handles, yeah, based on what I'm seeing, it's like coding a game from source with an engine. Right. That makes sense. Yeah, it's like a game engine, and then it just handles probably all of the stuff, like all of the rendering to all of the rendering for you and like distribute it against like on the GPU properly, right? So that's, I'm assuming this is the benefit that you get, so OpenGL. And then yeah, what I'm assuming is that by now OpenGL is probably like there's other things built on top of OpenGL that might make it a bit easier to do, but I don't know. I would have to take a look at this and see like how do we use it. Do you typically code games? Like, have you made any cool games recently? No, you haven't. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I think Unity is one of the easiest ones to get started with, although definitely if you're doing like hardcore games and you want to have the best like graphics and whatnot, Unreal Engine is the way to go. But Unreal Engine does use C++, though you might be good with C++, but I don't know. Personally, it's super powerful, don't get me wrong. C++ is great, but it's like, I don't know if I want to manage all of this memory, and do I want to like, I don't know. weird, but it makes sense. From Unity, no coding experience needed. Wait, how are you coding on Unity without coding? Like, how are you creating stuff on Unity? Like, is there like a no-code solution for Unity? I didn't know that existed. Or do you just follow like approaches and stuff someone else online? I don't know. That's interesting. If you don't have to code to do Unity, that's amazing. I had to code it. I had to use C# for the whole crap. I guess they do have like visual stuff that you can like map specific items to like values across, you know, like objects and whatnot. But not sure. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to, let's see over here. So with PyTube, so import from PyTube import extract. Okay, cool. And according to some amazing person on the internet, I can do video ID by just doing this. Boom! There you go. Because I definitely wasn't gonna manage, I don't know how many different types of URLs are here. More than 100 at least. So we can say that with confidence. More than 100. No, I mean, it's the code directly embedded to it. So we made the game like a Blender. Gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah, because you need to have like everyone, right? Like someone that's designing the game and like giving you assets, and then someone else that's doing like what they need to do and whatnot. So, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so is that all that I need to do here? Because if this is all that I need to do, this is pretty simple. So let me just go back to the documentation of the YouTube API, the YouTube transcript API. And according to these people here, so I install the package and then get transcript, and that's it. It already gives me like, so this is the format that it's going to give it to me as. It's going to give it to me as like a list of different chunks. And these chunks tell you like how long it lasted and then at what timestamp it started. So this is exactly what we want to do here. I am currently in Seattle, originally based out of Venezuela, but I came here to the States when I was like, I want to say 14 or 13, yeah, 14. Was down in Florida for some time, and now I'm currently in the West Coast. I'm in Seattle, all the way like at the top, near Canada. So you're Spanish, not Spanish, but Hispanic. I speak Spanish though. Spanish people are from Spain, but I'm not from Spain. I'm from Venezuela. So I'm Hispanic, not Spanish, but I do speak Spanish. Okay, so now that I have this transcript here, I created a method. Yeah, Hispanic, I mean. Yeah, that's fine, that's fine. Yeah, I am Hispanic. I speak both Spanish and English. And I'm also learning German right now. I have, let's see what my streak on Duolingo is. I have 466 days on Duolingo. Let me see so I see I'm not lying. 466 days. That's like more than a year. Almost getting to 2 years. Well, someday I might get there. Yeah, I know Spanish, English, and I'm learning German. I don't know, I feel like I need actual people to speak German with, but because Duolingo is great, but then I try to hear someone talking and I'm like, yeah, I have no idea what you're saying. Like I would have to like listen to it very, very slow, but I need someone to practice with. Russian. Why Russian? I guess you could ask why German. I mean, maybe because you just wanted to do Russian. I don't know. Russian's fun. Okay, so I created this transcript service that basically just takes in a URL, gets the video ID from it, and then uses the other API to go ahead and do get transcript video ID. Right, largest country by surface area, but pretty sure China and India are larger in terms of like amount of people, right? So, yeah, by surface area, of course. Yeah. What is Russia consider? Is Russia consider Asia or Europe? Because I know that it has like half in Asia, half in Europe. What is it consider, or is it considered both? I'm not sure. Okay, so Asia, interesting, because half of it is in Europe, right? Like the thing is like half of it Europe. Yeah. It's half Asia, half Europe. That's why I'm like, wait, what? Moscow is in Europe. That's such a weird thing, right? Like, why didn't they just decide like, okay, we'll just call all of this Asia since Russia's in it? Like, I don't know, or all of this Europe, but. So I wonder if you're Russian, like, and you're coming to someone, are you gonna say like, oh, I'm Asian, or am I European? Or if you live in Moscow, you say you're European, and if you live in Yakutsk, then you're Asian. I don't know. That's weird. That's weird to me. Okay, so let's go ahead and use this transcript service now that I have it, and then this should be it. This should be all that I need to return my transcript. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to print it for now before returning it. So for that, I need to instantiate my class. So I'm going to go ahead and do YouTube transcript service. So let's go ahead and do transcript service. And that's just going to be my YouTube transcript service. And can you just import it over here properly? Many of Eastern Russians say they're Central Asian. Central Asian, that's such a stretch. I guess, well, I mean, I guess if North America says the same, like they're like, oh, you know, I'm North American, or I'm South American, or I'm Central. I don't think anyone says Central American. I guess if you're like Central American and South American, you just say you're Hispanic, but interesting. I'm Central Asian. That's fun. So, okay, if transcript is not, then we return 4 and 4. And let's go ahead here and then just print that transcript for now, just so that I can see what's happening here. So let me run my project again here. Stan, Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Uzbekistan. Gotcha. What's that? So that was like I'm rusty on my history here. I don't think I've ever like looked into like Russian history and whatnot. But were all of those countries under the same empire? Like, is that why they were called the Stan Empire? Because like Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, and all of the Stan were the same thing, or they just decided to go for that name. I don't know if the name means something else though. Okay, so let's run this with an actual YouTube video. Let me find a YouTube video here. That's the first one that appears. Let's do a Mr. Beast video, if I can get the transcript out of it. Probably a Mr. Beast video isn't the best to get a transcript, because he's very like, no, people named it. Okay, interesting. The actual Stan Empire never existed. Oh, gotcha. So they call it the Stan Empire because like a bunch of people, because a bunch of countries are like together and they're all called Stan. Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so before I do this, I want to see, does this fail? This extract video, this function supports the following patterns. Okay, the param URL contained in the video. So it doesn't say that it fails if it doesn't find anything. So let's go ahead and try this. Okay, so it returns success, which leads me to believe that it got to the end. Booyah! So here we go. So we have the transcript for the video. And let's see over here. So if we look at our notes, as a user, I want to be able to get the transcript from a YouTube video, giving a URL. Okay, so I want to get it as the user, so I want to make sure that I can return it. So instead of just returning success, we're going to return that actual transcript, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So in here, can I just return the transcript right here? So no, 200, and then do I need to encode it? Like JSON encode it? Encode? I don't know, let's just return the transcript as is and see how it looks like at this point. No need to print it anymore. And let me just clear the terminal to make sure that everything, okay, cool. So if I do this now, boom, there we go. So now I'm able to passing a URL and I get the transcript. And here it says, you see, duration 3.43 seconds. And then it starts at yeah, why would you use Vim, bro? Like, that's like that's just like a meme. Like, who uses Vim? Like legit, who uses Vim? If you tell me like NeoVim, I think it's like a new thing. Isn't it a thing, like NeoVim? Yeah. Like, if you use NeoVim, I guess, is this what I think it is? Yeah, if you use like NeoVim, maybe, but like, who codes in Vim, bro? That's like, it's good for text manipulation. Yeah, but how is Vim easier than just copying and pasting stuff here? Like, I mean, maybe, but I don't know. Like, this is pretty simple to me too. Like, I can just copy stuff and move them around and do string and do text manipulation. So it's like, yeah. No way, there's a lazy Vim too? What's the difference between regular Vim and lazy Vim? Or is that just an installer? Or are you just trolling with me? Lazy Vim. Oh, there is lazy Vim. The heck is lazy man? Let's see. No, my eyes hurt by just looking at that. I don't know. I know a lot of people have beef with VS Code now. Like, VS Code used to be the preferred IDE of anyone. Like, back in, I don't know, a couple years ago, everyone would go for VS Code, hands down. But then it started being all crappy because, like, Microsoft started doing more and more, and now they're starting to turn VS Code into Visual Studio, and now it has so many things that it's like, I don't know, I think it's become a bit slower with the times. But I mean, what can you expect from Windows, huh? Just kidding. I know people are like Windows lovers here. But what can you expect from Windows? No, seriously, don't use Windows. Like Windows sucks. I don't even know. I'm not even gonna get into it. Do whatever you want. All right. So okay, cool. So where are we? So far, we created our Flask API app. We pass in the URL in the body. We are fetching the transcript from the URL. And we are returning it, so we can mark this as done. And here we got the transcript from the video. In this case, it's a Mr. Beast video. I think one of the latest one, if not the latest one that he built or that he made. And the cool thing about this transcript stuff is that it returns the text of what I need to know. So this is like what was actually said. And then it also gives me the duration of this. So it tells me that it lasted 3.43 seconds and where in the video it started. So it started at 0.467 seconds after the video. And can we confirm that? Let's go ahead and confirm that. Gain access to personal badges and whatever. I don't know, what is this? No, I don't want to join a Mr. Beast paid community yet. So there we go. Let's make sure. So it starts at 0.4 seconds. Yeah, and that was like 3 seconds. Okay, cool. So it seems to be accurate at least. It's giving me the right values. Dude, why not use Windows? I don't know. I haven't... Maybe I'm just not getting good computers, but like my whole life I was a Windows guy. I was always... I had desktops, I had laptops, I have multiple laptops of different brands and whatnot. But my experience was that after 2 years or so, after a year and a half or 2 years, it's like they slow down by themselves. Like you don't do anything and they just start like being crappy. Like nothing loads. They become like, I don't know. It's just like, and that's been my experience with every single Windows machine that I've had. Whether that's a desktop, whether that's a laptop, whether it has a lot of RAM or it has little RAM. Like it doesn't matter what I do with those. It's always like so slow after a couple of years. Like I feel that they purposely like pollute crap, or maybe the operating system just leaves like some processes running that it never kills and it just gets slow. I don't know. Not had a great experience since about I think 5 years ago. I started buying Macs, and this is my second MacBook so far. And dude, I haven't had a single problem with MacBooks like ever in my life. And I'm not running like that beefed up. Like if you see what I'm running here, I'm running actually the M1 Pro and 16 gigs of RAM. So I don't have a lot either. Like I have 16 gigs of RAM, which is enough, but dude, I've never had a problem. It's never slow. It's always runs smoothly. And I mean, if you think about it, it kind of makes sense. Like for Apple, they are building the hardware and the software together. So they're always building they have the hardware and then the software they write specifically for the hardware that is running in. And also the other way around, like the hardware is optimized so that the software runs good. That's because they build both in-house. But if you take a look at most Windows machines, unless you buy something like a Surface tablet or something, which I don't know, I guess the new ones are okay, but unless you buy like a Windows machine, like a Microsoft machine, like a Surface tablet or something, what you're doing is that you're trying to build a generic thing that then you're adding Windows to it. And that's what most companies do, right? Like Dell, HP, or whatever, Toshiba. They are trying to just put like a white label software or a white label operating system into your computer. So it's like, I don't know, is it going to work well across every computer? No, because every computer is different. Like, you're going to have different architecture, you're going to have different things. So it's like, it's going to be slow. I don't know. That doesn't mean that you can't have a Windows machine that runs well. Like, I know a lot of gamers, I know a lot of streamers, I know a lot of people that they have their Windows machines and they're beefed up and they work great, but I don't know. I haven't had a good experience with it. Linux is definitely very good. That's preferred by a lot of people, actually, and mainly because it feels, one, more techy, right? Like, you have more customization. A lot of the different distros are open source, so you can do a lot of things with it, and then you can like modify it yourself to do whatever. So yeah, Linux is dope. I think I've only worked with Linux in certain cases. I did a couple of projects in school where I needed to run Linux because I needed to know I needed to run like a VM. Also, Raspberry Pi, right? Like the Raspberry Pi has a lot of like, it's a Windows distro. Sorry, a Linux distro. So, but yeah, I've heard Debian, like, you know, Ubuntu, those are great operating systems too. I don't know, I haven't gotten there yet. Maybe soon, maybe in the future I'll get into some Linux, but I don't know. By the people, for the people, seems like a good premise. Alright, so we're making some progress. So now we have our timestamps here and what we need to do. And now what do we want to do? Now our next step, let's see. So now as a user, I'm able to get the transcript. And now I'm going to use an LLM to get the sections that will be relevant from my video to get other transcripts. And let me see if this actually works for my video, because I tested it with a video from Mr. Beast, but I want to check my own like previous stream recordings and see if it'll actually get the transcript from them. So let's say this one right here. Let me share this. Okay, let me copy the link, paste it here. Yeah, there we go. So it gives me the transcript, and it's a lot because this was two and a half hours of content. But okay, so it works for a large YouTube URL as well. I don't think it really has any issues with getting the transcript. So that's working. I can definitely use a VM or a dual boot, but I don't know. Do I not have? I think I had, dude. I'm pretty sure I had like a VirtualBox. I do have a VirtualBox, and I believe I was running. I want to say I run Ubuntu there. I don't know. What do I have in VirtualBox? So what the heck was I running in here? I don't remember what I was running in VirtualBox. But I have in the past ran like either Windows, because I needed to do something that was Windows specific, or Linux because I needed to like do that as well. But yeah, maybe Linux in the future. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe you guys will help me set that up together here. Okay, so now let's move on to the next step. And I think this might be the last step. I don't know, depending on what time it is by the time we finish this. I might actually build a UI for this and connect them together. Or we'll see. But for now, let's see. Now we need to connect it to an LLM to get the sections that will be relevant for other videos. So as a user, I want to be able to get the timestamps and summary of sections that will be relevant to my YouTube video. So basically what I want to do is pass in my transcript to an LLM, and then the LLM is going to analyze the text. It's going to tell me like, hey, these parts are cool because you speak of this, this, and this, and then you do that, that, and that. So, so that way I can use it. And let me see if I can find something here. Because I want to see if I can pass just everything to it, or if I need to, one second. So, oh, okay, cool. So I have the transcript here. Okay, let's go ahead and get started on this one. So again, as I did with the other one, since I finished a step, I'm going to add this. And let me just check the changes here. So I added this at the top. I added my transcript service, and I'm getting my transcript. Requirements, I added PyTube and YouTube Transcript API. I wonder if PyTube can get me the transcript too. Maybe PyTube already handles both, but I'm not sure. So in this one, we extract the video ID, and then we get the YouTube transcript there. And then, where is this getting it from? So, oh, because I have the PyCache. I don't want to, I don't think I want to keep the PyCache in on my, so can I do this? PyCache. Will this get rid of it? Because I don't want to have to do this in every folder. Oh, I'm missing the two things here. Will you remove it? No? Come on, get ignore. Work, okay, fine. I'll just do a specific value here. So source PyCache. Am I spelling this right? PyCache. So in source PyCache, yes. So git add. No, do I need to like unstage it? No, I don't want to stash. I want to unstage the changes. Okay, boom. So if I unstage the changes, there we go. Now we can git add. Git commit. Getting my transcript and returning it. Okay, cool. So now that I have that there, I think I'm going to try with a couple of LLMs. I'm going to try first with OpenAI's. And then if that doesn't work because of the content, like, I know that OpenAI has a context window that's smaller than Gemini. I think Gemini 1.5 now lets you to like 1 million tokens. So maybe I want to do the 1 million tokens. I'm not sure. But for now, I'm going to use OpenAI. So, okay, so let's do this. OpenAI. Is that just what the package is called? Have you guys worked with LLMs yet? Like, have you built anything with like a ChatGPT or something like that, like an AI-powered app? It's pretty cool. Okay, so now that I have this, what do I want to do? So, okay, I'm going to create another service, and I'm going to call it like, I don't know, stream service or something like that. Stream service, Python. And then in here, so we're going to have a class stream service that has a method. To taking a, so we're gonna have a method in my class that's gonna take in a transcript, and will so it's gonna take the transcript and will return to me the most relevant parts. So most relevant parts I'm gonna have. What's up, Mohammed? Nice to see you here. Nice to see you here. Yeah, today I'm doing some Python. I don't know. I wanted to build like an API and something to get like up and running. And I think Python is one of the languages that has the least boilerplate to do stuff, so that I don't have to do like a bunch of, I don't know, with Java, I have to spin up the world to get it to work. Linux and Mac have similar behavior. So for me that use Windows, it is difficult to run regular Linux command. Right. Yes. So that's the thing. I don't know if you knew, but both are based on what is called Unix. Unix is like the original like OS, the OG OS. So they're both built on Unix, but then Linux like kind of took it up a notch, and then they kind of deviated. I think Linux just went on one way, and then Mac just went on the other way. But yeah, they're very, very similar. Have I used Android Studio before? Yes and no. I haven't really like used it per se to like code anything, but I have had to install it and like do some setup, because I do a lot of things for I use a lot of things for Flutter, and for Flutter to get things up and running on Android, you do have to install Android Studio so that you can install all the emulators and simulators and whatever you need to do. So I run it, but dude, Android Studio kills my computer. Like I try to run Android Studio and the thing just hogs the whole memory, and it's like, oh, okay, you want to print this, you want to print to the console this? Okay, that's going to be 32 gigabytes of RAM. My man, be happy with it. And I'm like, dude, that like, I'm trying to run my computer, it gets hot. I don't know what Android Studio does, to be honest, but it like kills my computer. It's insane. Okay, so this is gonna take in the transcript and return the relevant data. So the relevant data is just so what do I want to return here, right? Like I want to feed in the transcript as a whole with the timestamps and everything, and then have it return to me like the relevant parts. So the relevant parts of the video. So the relevant parts of the video are interesting or informative parts. Interesting or informative parts, and we will let the LLM decide this and return the timestamps of these parts. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna have a class stream and get stream. So get relevant parts. So again, this is going to take in the transcript and it's going to give me the relevant parts back. I want it to give me, because my thought, and again, I haven't really tested this. I hope that the LLM is smart enough to know how to do this kind of stuff. But basically, you guys saw what the transcript looks like, right? Like it looks like different chunks with the timestamps and all of that. So what I want from it is I want to feed it all of this, and then it'll tell me like, this part between second 96 and second 99 or whatever, second 96 and second whatever 134, you speak about, what a stack is or whatever. So this is a good part to include, and that way I can just easily recognize it later and use it. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. So we'll see if ChatGPT is smart enough to do that. Okay, so how do we use the OpenAI API for completion? So let's take a look here at what they do. Okay, so here we go. So basically, we instantiate the client, and we need to pass it my private key, my OpenAI API key, and then what are we doing here? We create a chat completion by just creating the completion. We pass in the message that we want to do, and then we we specify the model. So I think I'm gonna do GPT-4o just because GPT-4o, it's like apparently they're smartest right now, and I think it'll yield better results. But I don't know. I don't have a. I'm a bit skeptical of AI still. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and create it the same way that they're creating it here. So basically, I'm gonna go ahead and import OS, import so from OpenAI, import OpenAI, and then what do I want to do? Yeah, so self.client, I'm gonna call it client. I'm gonna instantiate my OpenAI, and I think I need to pass in my API key as can I do os.environment, like get OpenAI API key, and then I'll set this key in just a second. Just gotta make sure I don't expose my keys on stream for everyone to see in perpetuity. I have to check that in a second. Okay, so I specify this, so I have my client, and basically here, what do I want to do? I want to pass in some messages. So basically, I'm gonna specify a system message. So I'm just gonna specify a system message, and what is this message gonna be? So this message is gonna because I don't know if you knew, but when you're interacting with LLMs or with like an AI or with this generative large language models, you can pass in the messages and you can specify the role. So you can specify whether it's a conversation or a message being sent by the user, or if it's a message being sent by the system. So kind of like you would put in the system instructions like, you are a helpful AI that does this, this, and this, and returns the payload in JSON. And then for your user prompt, you specify like what that really means. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. I think I am going to do that. Okay, so what do I want to do here? Well, before I had a specific thing. So what I'm gonna tell it here is, you are a helpful assistant that gets the what is this recommending already here? The relevant parts of the video of a video based on the transcript, and returns the response with and returns the relevant parts along with the timestamps of where it starts and where it ends. So the relevant parts with the timestamps of where it starts and where it ends, along with a summary explanation of why that part works, right? Like I wanted to tell me like, hey, I chose this part over here, and the reason that that part is good is because of XYZ, right? So I'll probably be doing that. Okay, so I have my system message. Let's go ahead and also specify the model here. It's just gonna be GPT-4o. Is it okay to use AI to generate your code in real job? Why not? Like if we've been using Stack Overflow since forever, what's the point of using? Some people have opinions on that. Why? Because, well, we don't know how these AIs were trained, and we don't know if we're using proprietary code from other places, because we don't know if like OpenAI just breached a bunch of repos and then took the code without permission, which more likely than not they did. But I mean, I don't see any issue with doing this, or like getting the code from AI, because like at the end of the day, and this is honestly, okay, listen to me, I'm 100% convinced that software engineer is going to evolve from what it is right now to software engineering with AI. And what do I mean by that? I don't think AI is going to replace us anytime soon. They might replace us in the future, like, I don't know, 100 years from now, but I don't think they're going to replace us now. What's going to happen is that we're going to be leveraging these AIs to do the boring tasks, because like you are going to have to still do the software engineering job of figuring out what needs to happen, right? Because these AIs are powerful, quote unquote, but they're not, like, they're very dumb. Like, you have to tell them specifics of what you want to happen, how you want it to do it, etc., etc. So I think the job of software engineer is going to evolve a bit to more of like an architect, where you are the one coming up with the solutions, right? Like, for example, as I was saying here, like, hey, I want a class that's going to be a student service, that's going to take in the transcript, and it's going to, return the relevant parts of the video. So you as a software engineer will have to think about all of these things that you need to do. So like, oh, okay, I need to, create a class, I need to do a loop, I need to iterate through this, I need to fetch data. Like, you are the one that's going to have the architecture in your mind. And then most likely than not, the AI are going to be writing the stuff. And then you, of course, have to be overlooking it and making sure that what it's writing makes sense. Sorry about that. And not only makes sense, but that it's maintainable. That you know that tomorrow, if you need to come and make a change to the code, that you know like how to make the change. That it's not just like a bunch of like garbage code there. So yeah. Now, is it okay for you to have the AI write the code? I don't see any issue with it. It's always up to you too as well to come back later and read the code. What I do have to give a warning on is putting your code into like ChatGPT. So if you are working for a real company, right? Like you have a real job and you want to use AI, I wouldn't recommend that you grab the code from your company and put it in ChatGPT, because I know ChatGPT, like you don't know what's happening there, right? Like they might be using that code to train the model again, and now you're exposing your IP or your intellectual property from your company to OpenAI. So maybe you don't want to do that. So just be careful with like, and always ask your company. At least my company, they're like, yeah, as long as you don't like, expose our API keys, and as long as you guys are not doing like crazy stuff, it's okay. But yeah, just make sure that you're not putting like your whole code for your company on ChatGPT, because you don't know what happens there, and then there could be a security breach or something, and then yeah, I don't know. It's better to be safe than sorry. Okay, cool. So yeah, we'll specify our model, we'll specify the system message here, and it's just saying that your helpful assistant gets the relevant parts of a video based on the transcript and returns the relevant parts with the timestamps of where it starts and where where the part starts and where it ends, along with a summary explanation of the video. So return the parts as a JSON list of objects with objects in the following format. So let me make this multi-line because it's like pissing me off. So okay, so in the following format, and I wanted to return stuff like this. Hold on. Bro, come on. Okay. So I wanted to return it in the following format. So it's going to be list of objects. And then inside of there, we're going to have like start and summary. Boom. This is amazing. Okay, so that's what I want to do. And okay, now here we're going to create our completion, and let me just go back to the documentation of OpenAI. Okay, so the way that they do it is by doing a chat completion. It's gonna be self.client.chat.completions.create. That's how we create a completion. I'm so used to Java that I keep adding freaking semicolons to the end of the thing. So yeah, it's frequently asked question. If you could start over, how you learn how to code? By building projects. I think I would start the same way that I started, which was by building projects. Like literally when I started, I think I started in high school, like somewhere like in junior year or senior year of high school. And I don't know, like building websites interested me. So I was like, hey, maybe I can build a website or something like that. And I started learning at the time. It was Ruby on Rails, dude. I was doing web development with Ruby on Rails. I don't know if anyone still uses that, but yeah, I was using Ruby and Ruby on Rails to create websites. And I think the thing that helps the most, and till this day I think that's still true, is that to build projects. Like, how do you learn? You learn by doing the work, not by reading or watching a video about the work. So building a project, and that doesn't have to be something insane. Like, even if it's something simple, like I want to build a tic-tac-toe game. Go for a tic-tac-toe game. I want to build a note-taking app, or I want to build a to-do app. So just something simple, but the coding and thinking about how the pieces get together starts helping you like actually learn. Now, you do have to learn the basics of whatever you're trying to do first, right? So you're probably gonna have to like go through a specific like tutorial that will teach you the language. If you don't know any of the language, like if you don't know anything whatsoever, you are gonna have to go through like something that will teach you the syntax and how to get started and so on. But yeah, a couple of good resources though. Let me see if I can recommend. I don't know if you already know about them, but Free Code Camp. Free Code Camp is great. Great tool to learn how to code, and it's like very interactive. So you have like your text editor, and then you have like the site rendering on the right, and then as you're like coding and learning, you know, different things, you see the changes on the right. So it's really, really cool for that because it's very interactive. So Free Code Camp is one. I really like this one that I found not so long ago. It's called codedex.io. So Codedex is like, again, it still help you learn how to code, but apparently it helps you in more like a gamified way. So they give you points and stuff like that as you go through the code and learning stuff. So they have like different practices. So in here they have like Python, HTML, JavaScript, React, and whatever. And apparently the way that they do things is very very fun. And then you have to like complete tasks and whatnot. So freecodecamp.org, codedex.io, and then Codecademy. I also think codecademy.com is really, really good. It has a lot of courses. So if you don't even have the base and you don't know anything about coding, any of these three websites are really, really good for this. And you'll learn a lot. And once you have the base, then just start building projects. Like once you think you know enough to understand more or less what you're doing, like you know the syntax, you know what they're talking about and whatnot, then move on to projects. Like doing more tutorials is not gonna help you. Building projects will help you. So kind of what I'm doing right now, right? Like just go ahead and think of an idea and try to build that idea and see, you know, how far you get. And also to make it easier for you, do what I did at the beginning, which is like try to split it into different tasks so that you can get tasks done, you know you're making progress, and it doesn't become like super overwhelming. All right, where were we? So I was in VS Code. Okay, so now that we have here, we're going to create a chat completion. And the way that I create this chat completion is I need to pass it the model and the message. Yeah, there we go. So chat completion. But then here I'm gonna do something like something like this. Okay, and I want to tell it here, get the relevant parts and timestamps on the following transcript. Okay. And then chat completion is going to give me, what is chat completion going to give me? So chat completion, that choices, that 0, that message, that content. So this should be my reply. And I think for now I'm just going to print it. So I'm just going to print this completion. And this is the message, and this is the contents of the message, which is strings now. So I'm going to go ahead and print that just to see what ChatGPT is doing here. So chat completion response. And now let me actually call this. So we got our transcript. And I think I'm going to combine these things because like get relevant parts is cool by passing the transcript, but I'm going to declare another method here that's going to be get relevant parts, and this is going to take self and a URL so that I can just combine this together. So that way in my main, I don't have to do this. I'll just pass in the URL to my stream service. My stream service will call my YouTube transcript service to get the transcript, then return it, and then do the rest of the process. So what I want to do is do this right here. So in here, I'm going to do self that. Let me see if I can add this. From, okay. And then in here, look at how simple this becomes, right? Like now I'm using my transcript service to get my transcript, and then I'm passing my transcript back over here. So let's just do some guardrails here. If we don't have any transcript, we return transcript not found. And actually, let's raise an exception. I'm going to raise an exception just so that I can manage this myself and know that like, oh, okay, I didn't get any value. And yeah, so basically I'm getting my transcript and then I'm passing it to get the relevant parts, and this is just doing some overloading here, which sends that transcript to the transcript. So get relevant parts transcript. Actually, I'm gonna rename it just so that we don't have any confusion. Python sometimes acts weird. Okay, so get relevant transcript. You're not getting the right thing. Do I need to put an F? Yeah, I need to put an F at the beginning just so that it actually gets a transcript. Okay. And this is get the relevant parts. Uses this get parts transcript. And then it passes the transcript, okay. And now in here, I just need to do response is going to be equal to my, so let's do here stream service. Stream service is going to be equal to stream service. And let's import this. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do a try catch, because as I said, like, so try relevant parts, exception was E, return 500. Right, so if there's any errors, I'm gonna return 500 there. I think I can leave that like that, and then here I can return the relevant parts. right? So if this fails for some reason, like it throws an exception, I'm just going to return a 500 error. Otherwise, I'm going to return my relevant parts in 200. So this is almost done, but I know it's going to fail because I need to include my API key. So basically, I'm just going to declare my API key as part of my environment variables, and this is how you declare environment variables over here. And this is going to be something like sk123 whatever. So I declare my environment variable here, and I declare it in a file called .env environment. And then if I declare it like that, this already handles it for me. And then when I need to get a variable, I just get it like this, right? Like os.environment.get, and then I reference the environment variable that I want to get, and then it fetches whatever value I have here. And then I'm going to add this .environment to my git ignore so that we don't commit that to my repository, because I definitely don't want my keys, my API keys, to be out in the wild. So I'm going to get this out of the view for just a second so that I can get, well, let me actually generate a new API key first. So I'm going to generate a new API key that I'm going to use for this project by itself. I like to have different API keys based on the project that I'm using, just so that I can know, like, oh, okay, I have a lot of traffic coming from this, but not so much traffic coming from there. So I'm gonna do that. So let me create this here real quick. I'm going to, okay, create API key, create a new API key, and this one I'm gonna call it stream easy, or easy stream is what I call it, easy stream. Create a key. Okay, now that I have the value, I'm just gonna take this to the side for just a second. I'll bring it back to you guys in a moment. I just want to put my key and not show it to the whole stream. Okay. Okay, cool. So I set up my key. I already have my key in the environment variable. I'm not going to show it because I don't want to show my key over here. But I already have my key, and then this will resolve it to the right value. Okay, and let's take a look here. So I give my URL, a stream service, then get relevant parts, I pass in the URL, and then this right now, it's always going to be returning just interesting parts of the video, but what I'm most interested in is just like what it's printing, because I want to see that it works, and then I'll work on returning it. But here we say OpenAI, and we are setting the parameter. Oh, so it's either or. So can I just remove this then? And will that work? Let me cancel out of here. Because I don't know if it's telling me that it didn't find any, or that it has to be like either or. But let's see. No, so it's not finding my OpenAI API key for some reason. So let me try and see why it's not finding it. So in here, OpenAI API key, okay. And let me just check my environment variables. OpenAI API key, okay. And if I set API key, let me test it with this. Let's see if now here we actually get the right value. Okay, why is it not getting my freaking thing? I don't want to open my environment variables here. Okay, so yeah, it's complaining about this. Basically, it's telling me here that OpenAI error because the client must be set, the API key on the client must be set either by passing API key to the client or by setting an environment variable called whatever here. But I am doing that. So that's why I'm a bit confused as to why it's complaining about this. Let me see if it's actually not reading the right value though. And I'm just trying something real quick. Okay, so I can do this. Boom. Just like trying to debug and see like where it's not liking it. Because I am passing it, maybe I'm just not getting the right thing. Let's see. Okay, so if I call this, wait. Oh, I need to put this before. Okay. One sec. Just trying to debug why the freaking thing doesn't want to like get my item. Oh, okay. So it's not finding my environment variable. So that's why it's happening. So even though I'm passing it in my .env, for some reason this is not it's not finding the key. Okay. So do some debugging with me. Let's go ahead and do debugging together. I'm just trying to fix this crap. So yeah, for some reason it's not finding my OpenAI API key. So let's see. So okay, so let's see, local environment, settings, environment. So I face a similar issue while removing the quotes from the virus example I created. Interesting. Okay, so it says that maybe it's because I have like quotations around my thing. I've never really had that issue before, which is very, very weird. But let's see. Okay, let me try that again. No, so it still doesn't like it. It still doesn't like it. So for some reason, my environment variable is not being picked up here. And I am passing API key, OpenAI key. Do I need to do something in particular? Oh, I'm such dumb. I believe I need to do this first. So, okay, so I do need to do some stuff first. I need to, yeah, so let me install this because I need to actually run this. I thought this was already included. Apparently it's not already included. Or it might be included and I just don't know why I'm not getting the right thing. So, okay. And then I need to load the environment variables, which is the interesting part that I didn't do. So I think in my main, somewhere here, I can do this. And now I think we should be good to go. Hopefully. Okay, so let me call this. Yeah, there we go. It's not failing right away. Okay, now it's doing work. I just needed to do the thing. Right, dude, I debug live. I debug in production. That's how you test the code. You deploy it to production, and then if the customers are calling you because the service is down, then you know it's broken. That's the way to go. Okay, so it's finished, but I know that I was just returning interesting parts of the video, but let's go ahead and take a look here at this. Ooh, this looks promising. Look at what it's sending me. So it's sending me JSON, and it is parsing the right thing. So here are the relevant parts of the timestamp to the time. The only thing that I don't like is that it's giving me like this, but I think I can force it to always return just JSON, even though it did return JSON here. And let's see, hold on. So this segment introduces and explains concepts of stacks, detailing the properties and basic operation like push pop. Boom, there we go. In-depth discussion and demonstration of stacks with examples. The instructor explains stack implementation using array. Yeah, okay, I like this. So it's giving me the specific like points of where it starts and where it ends. Okay, So I think we're getting there. The only thing is that I don't want it to like give me, because look at how right now it's just giving me a string, and it says like, oh, here are the relevant parts and timestamps for the transcript. I don't want it to do that. I just don't give me this. Just give me the JSON, because I don't like what, that's all I need. I don't want you to tell me something else. So let me try and take a look, and I know there's a way that like you can set the response type or response format. So I can do this. I can do this. Type JSON object, and that's it. I believe by just doing this, I'm letting ChatGPT know that like, hey, I don't want you to give me like text, just text. I want you to give me the items in JSON. So let's go ahead and try that. I think I need to stop and start the app every time, but let's see. And then at this point, let me actually return this content. So we're returning the content. Okay, there we go. Let's see what this does. Let's see. If I see some JSON on that console, I'm gonna be happy. Let's see how it goes. Boom! The only thing is that for some reason it returned only one. So maybe let me tell her the prompt as JSON list. Okay, let me just adjust the prompt there and see, because in this case it returned only one, and I want it to give me a list of the parts. I don't want it to give me just one part. I want to know all of the parts that are good. Maybe it's because I'm forcing that JSON object thing. I might need to do this by myself. Like I might need to format it myself. Let me see here. It's a JSON list. Can I not? Like, if I'm telling you a JSON list, why are you doing? See, I don't know why it doesn't want to give me. We're almost there. We're almost there. We just needed to actually give me a freaking list rather than just one item. Watch this just be me, and I'm doing like the wrong thing, and ChatGPT is actually doing the right thing. I don't know. But I wanted to return a list. I don't want a single object. I want to see all of them. Give me all of them. And just to recap why I'm doing this, I want to make sure that I can have something that helps me editing my lives into YouTube videos, so that I can just like get specific parts that are really, really cool, and I don't have to watch a 2.5 hour stream. Yeah, so there we go. So it's giving me boom, so it's giving me like transcript parts, and then it's giving me like a list. Okay, this I can live with this. Let me just modify my prompt so that it knows that it has to do that. So let me do this. Okay, transcript part, boom, and then here I'm gonna have an extra. Yeah. Yep. Okay, let's see if it does it multiple times, because I want to make sure that I can map the thing. Because one thing that I've noticed with AI is that a lot of times they don't follow instructions very well. As you saw, like I was asking for a list, and it was trying to give me like something else. And now it finally gave me a list, but it actually gave me an object of transcript parts that has a list in it. Yes, okay, so it always gives me a transcript part. Okay, and this you see, if we see it here, it's giving me transcript parts, and it gives me the different parts that it thinks are good. Okay, cool. We're making progress. We're making progress, people. All right, now let's go to my main here. And I want to tell it to return this. So in here, I want to return the response as JSON format. Yeah, so I want to return the response as JSON format. JSONify. But this is not really what I want to do, because I want the response type to be application JSON. Oh, so I guess I just need to JSONify the response, right? JSONify. And then JSONify from Flask. Let's see what this does. Because basically I just want it so that when I return something, it's in JSON format already. And it's not like it was saying that it was HTML or something like that, so I don't know. Looked sus. No, so I don't like what JSONify did, because JSONify like added some stuff there. So let me see how I return something. So return format JSON in Flask. Let me see, how do I do how do I put the content type as JSON? It says that I JSONify it, but JSONify is not doing what I want. Because if I see it as JSON, so JSONify just turned it into a JSON string. Or serializes, giving argument as JSON, returns a flag response with application JSON MIME type, okay. A dict or list returned from the view will be converted to JSON response automatically without needing to call this. So, what is it? A dict or list return from this. Can I like encode, like JSON that encode? Oh, with JSONify should work, but why is it giving me like as a string? That's interesting. Let me run it again just in case and see if that was just a fluke. You're making a loogies. Dude, one thing that you learn as a developer, and I think this is the best advice that someone gave me once, is that you just learn how to Google better than everyone else. And I think that's key, is that you need to learn how to Google and how to Google good and how to ask good questions. I think that's one of the best skills of a developer, is how do you ask the right questions so that you get the output that you're expecting. So you gotta play around with stuff. Okay, it's still giving me a freaking, like, I don't know why JSONify is returning a string, and I don't want it to be a string. Let me just see, maybe I'm the one that's messing it up with something here. Sorry, one second. Let me read the documentation here. Okay, so I don't think I need to put this 200 afterwards. And I think if I do this, it might work now. I don't know, trying an error. Okay. It's taking some time because he needs to get the transcript and then feed it to ChatGPT, and then from there. No, so it's still... Huh. Why is JSONify being weird? Let me try to get something else here. Let's see. Let's JSON decode this crap. Okay. I think I know I can do now. Okay, I think I know what I can do now, and I mean, let's try this. So I'm gonna go ahead and import JSON, and then instead of JSONify, I'm gonna go ahead and JSON the load relevant part. I don't know if this if this will blow up, but let's see. And I don't understand why I need to do this. This is so stupid. Like JSONify shouldn't turn it into a string with a bunch of like random crap. Like I don't know, it should just be JSON. Unless it's trying, but it's finding a string. I don't know. Oh, there we go. Boom. That was it. Now it's returning JSON in JSON format. There we go. Okay, perfect. So yeah, I mean, let's see our note. As a user, I want to get a timestamp and summary of the sections relevant to the video. Okay, and what does it say here? So between 70 and 66, no, sorry, between 66 and 70, the speaker talks about the fundamental computer science of binary trees. So it seems to be good. The only thing is that it's not really doing what I want, because like I'm looking at these timestamps and this one says that it starts at 103 and this one ends at 103. So I don't know what kind of timestamp this is actually doing, because it's like, I don't know, it's like weird. So timestamps, let's go ahead and give it a better prompt here. So okay, and return set, return the list, okay. So you must get relevant parts that are at least 10 seconds long. Return at least 4 different relevant parts. So how about I put it like, okay, just a one relevant part of 60 seconds. 60 seconds should be good, but they can be longer depending on like, you know, what we need to do. So let's see if the prompt fixes it. Because right now it's like doing like too short, like too little snippets. And I'm not going to make a video of like a second and a half. Like that makes no sense. So I want to make sure that it's getting the right values and the right parts based on this. And okay, boom, we actually improved a bit. So this one goes from 66 to 166. Yeah, there we go. I think this is good. And let's just do a quick check. So for example here, this part is informative as it provides an in-depth explanation and demo of stacks as a data structure, highlighting key operations like push, pop, peek with practical examples. So let's take a look at the video, 6679. Let me get that video here. So 66. Wait, that makes no sense to me. 6679. What is a 79? The frames? Oh, okay. So it would be 66, 106. So 1 hour and 6. Right, because this is the minutes. These are the seconds. These are the frames, I believe. I think so. Or the minutes and the minutes and the, because these can't be seconds, because if this is a second, 79 seconds doesn't really make much sense. Like, I mean, maybe, but let's go ahead and see over here what this means. So YouTube transcript timestamps, what they mean. So YouTube transcript API timestamps. I'm just checking to see like what the value is, because they're giving me something in like they're giving me stuff in a specific format, but I want to see what that format is. Okay, so I think it's minutes and then seconds, but then this doesn't make sense unless ChatGPT is just making crap up. This doesn't make sense, because if it's 66 minutes and 79 seconds, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But for now, let's assume that's fine. Okay, so, and let's see if it's right. So what video is this? Let me get this link. Kind of like that. Okay. And now if we go to 66. Well, that is a stack. Two main basic data structures. So let's see that. Always remember, stack is LeetCode, or LIFO. Hey, so it's kind of right? Last in, first out. Again, always think of a stack as a stack of books. I can add items into the top and remove items from the top. I cannot add an item in the middle. Okay, so it seems like it kind of works. It gave me specifics, so it said that between 66 and 166, which is a very, very long time. It's like 100 minutes, but that's okay. This introduces the session, talks about how many minutes have passed, okay, and mentions topics will be covered. That's fine. And then we have other ones right here. Yeah, I think I don't have the right thing, because like these timestamps don't make sense to me. Because if this is 1,132 minutes, yeah, I'm pretty sure I wasn't live for that long. I guess I just have to figure out what this means. Like how many, if this isn't like seconds, or like maybe it's in a specific timestamp that I don't know. But I think I'll deal with that another time. All right, I need to start doing streams earlier, man. But then we don't have Friend, because it's gonna be too early for Friend. No, but I think I'm gonna start doing streams earlier, starting tomorrow, because I've been starting at around 10 p.m. my time, and it's already almost 1 a.m. and I have to be up and ready for work at around 6 a.m. So I will start doing streams a bit earlier, because I want to stay around. I think like there's a lot of more things that I want to do to this, and I want to answer questions, and I want to work on other things, but I need to sleep too, or else I'm gonna perish. But all right, worked with a couple. I did a couple of internships. Did an internship with Microsoft. Did another internship with GE. Google. Ended up in this company, and I'm actually potentially switching companies soon. Probably a couple months or so. I'll probably be switching companies again. But yeah. I did a couple of internships. And now, I mean, UKG is kind of pretty big. The thing is that they're like the back end of everything. So, for example, we have as customers, we have Tesla, we have Google, we have Microsoft as customers, because we run like payroll for them, we roll recruiting for them, we manage taxes for them, like we do a bunch of things. It's just that we are more like a B2B, but yeah. After this stream, I'll start that. Go for it, man. Go for it. Free Code Camp is great. Codedex.io apparently is also great. I don't know which one is better. I think they both cover a lot of good topics. Codedex.io seemed fun to me, just because it looks like, if you like gaming and whatnot, it looked like a game. So if you see adventure, start your adventure coding and whatnot. And they gamified it. So I don't know. This one might be cool, but I know Free Code Camp is also great too. So go with either one, whichever has a course that you think is the one that you want to go for. But yeah. All right. I think I'm gonna call it a day. As always, thank you very much for hanging out today, seeing me do some kind of work through my thought process of how I build an app, how to break things apart, how to work incrementally. So we get one thing, then we get another thing, then we get another thing, and then we build on top of each other. And yeah, I'll try to be live tomorrow. Same time, I might start a bit earlier. Just so we get more time here. But all right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here, and I will see you tomorrow. All right. Bye now.